All right, everyone, welcome back. So we got some updates here on Resident Evil 4 Remake from the Capcom Showcase during the Resident Evil panel. Pretty much they showcased the same trailer, but it's an alternate trailer because at the end, the scene in which he's holding the picture of um, Ashley and he's in the car from the scene at the beginning of the game. This time we got different camera view of Leon getting a face reveal. So at the Capcom Showcase, essentially the two biggest thing that came from the Resident Evil 4 section within the Resident Evil panel was we got a face reveal, and we also got to see like a minute of gameplay. It was very small. Looking at the screenshots here, we got one of Leon's face from the front, and he just it the dude the it looks so good. Like the model just looks so good, and you can tell that they aged it up a little bit. Face looks a little bit more slim compared to Resident Evil 2. He definitely has a sort of seasoned look to him. He kind of looks jaded, like just the way his eyes look and his expression. This Leon seems a lot more sort of like he looks a lot more serious, which probably means also actually it's probably a good idea here. Second screenshot is him in the village. This looks like the village section, from the original, the village square or whatever. uh Definitely seems like that's from this scene, the one where he goes, "Where's everyone going, bingo?" Yeah, I was gonna say, since this game's going to be a lot more serious, um, and it's gonna focus a lot more on the horror elements of things. I think I think they're gonna cut out the cheese, like those cheesy lines like bingo and all that, which sucks because I love that about Resident Evil 4, and those things added personality to the game. I hope that within this remake they're able to still have some of that, but find a balance between serious and the cheesy, and not completely just cut it out, like, period. Next screenshot is Leon in a basement. Seemingly here it looks like could be the basement of the first house, where we encounter the first mad villager. It's pretty grotesque looking. There's a lot of bloody bear traps and tools and bones. It looks like a whole torture scene, like people get brought down here to be murdered and just cut up into pieces. So that's exciting to look at. And then the last screenshot we got here is just Leon walking through the forest area within the village. And yeah, all I can really say is it just looks great. Dark, menacing, isolated. That's definitely what this screenshot invokes. And as for the showcase itself, they had some stuff to say, and I think we'll take a look at that here now.
Hi everyone, I'm Yasuhiro Anpo,
Got it from the
director of Resident
director
Evil 4.
and
And I'm
producer of
Yoshiaki
Resident Evil 4.
Hirabayashi, producer of Resident Evil 4. This title is a reimagining of Resident.
Of course, they say it's a reimagining, so nothing wrong with that. Resident Evil 2 remake and 3 are both reimaginings, and they well, Resident Evil 3's remake is a lot more controversial, but Resident Evil 2 remake is very much beloved.
Based on the original 2005 release. Similar to other titles.
Now, this right here, what they say, similar to other titles in the series, we're carefully preserving what makes the original title special. This is what, well, first off, it's important to me. This line is very important because it's basically saying that they're putting respect on the original and trying to be faithful. And it also gives me hope that those cheesy one-liners that are in the original, that cheese isn't going to be completely cut. Even Resident Evil 2 remake had a few cheesy lines thrown in there throughout the game. I thought it was a good balance, so I hope they find that balance here between dark and horror and the cheesy.
They're carefully preserving what makes the original
Yep.
title special, while updating it with modern
We
flourishes
all
for
pretty much
everyone
know
to
this.
enjoy when it launches in 2023. Today, we'll reintroduce a bit of the game's story.
For the most part, the story here, everything they're going to talk about in terms of the story, is one for one the same as the original. Of course, they're probably going to take their own liberties here and add stuff and probably cut stuff, unfortunately.
Leon is dispatched to a quiet village in Europe as part of a mission to rescue the kidnapped daughter of the president.
Yeah, I think they nailed the look, because they obviously matured the model a lot, and they nailed the look here, and they definitely did capture the more mature and fearless look there. So I'm glad they did that, because I actually was worried that they were just going to slap the RE2 model in there and not make any changes, but yeah, I'm glad they made some effort to mature the model.
Past experiences. The Ganado, the main enemies of
and
this
here we
game,
go too. The Ganados, what they're about to talk about here.
The
Actually, I'll just let
experience
them
of being
talk, and
attacked
then
by
I can
hordes of
discuss
crazed
it.
Ganado is truly an iconic moment for
Yes, it
Resident
definitely
Evil.
was.
In order to truly bring out the concept of terror of people controlled by madness, the Ganado have been completely redesigned.
Which is great. Again, I love the look, the little, the earlier, excuse me, the earlier shot we got from the trailer of the Ganados turn around looking from, seemingly in the scene, the very first scene, the very first villager we meet with the red eyes. It just looks so cool, and I'm glad they put a lot more attention to detail into the way the villagers look. And now we get to see
Let's
some
take a
gameplay.
closer look at the game
This is
itself.
where they confirm the over-the-shoulder.
The over-the-shoulder camera returns, of course. Leon arrives at a dense and dangerous forest.
And they
We want to
confirm
nail
that,
the feeling of loneliness
this is where we
and
start.
fear of not
Essentially,
knowing
he
what lies
arrives at
ahead,
the forest.
even more so than the original.
This one's also key here, this statement here, because they want to nail the feeling of loneliness and fear even more so than the original. And also not knowing what lies ahead. So I'm curious as to, I get the loneliness and fear. That's clear from what we're seeing in the gameplay. With how dense the forest is and how dark it is, and the narrow paths, cluttered with foliage. But I'm curious as to see how they're going to tackle the not knowing what lies ahead part. I'm not sure what they mean by that, unless they're just referring to changing the way the locations connect, maybe, just to give a new experience. But the way they implied it, it's like in terms of Leon's perspective.
Of course, there will also
Got
be
to see Leon
thrilling
point his
battles.
gun.
People that played the
Here we
recent
go. We got a
Resident
crouch.
Evil
I don't know
2
if that's
and
going to
Resident
be,
Evil
that
3
crouch
should
is
find
a
this
scripted
familiar.
crouch, or there's actually a crouch button.
Look forward to future announcements.
That'd be cool.
We'll have more
If there are parts of the
information on
village,
game.
maybe you could sneak around
Resident
if you had a dedicated crouch button. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the gameplay. And yeah, that's pretty much all the news there. We got a face reveal for Leon. We got we got to see very minimal gameplay, and we also got to hear how they're tackling the game. Good to hear that they're going to try and be faithful to the original. That's always good to hear. But of course, we'll have to wait and see how they do that, and if they do that. Good to see that they're putting a lot of attention to detail in this game in terms of, and they show that through the fact that they're completely redesigning the Ganados to capture the mad villager look of them being consumed by parasite plagas, the last plagas. Well, it is a parasite, and it's also cool to see that they're focusing on that loneliness, the fear about the more horror aspect of it. This remake, definitely based on everything we've seen and heard so far, granted, what we have seen is so minimal to what the original holds. I plan on making another video to talk about cut content for Resident Evil 4, because that'll be a discussion. But yeah, it's good to so far. The what I'm trying to say is so far the stuff that we've heard has all been good. And I couldn't be more happy and excited for this game when it releases next year. And yeah, that's it for this Resident Evil 4 remake update. So I will catch you guys in the next one.